Have you ever felt like your ideas are just a jumble of disconnected thoughts? Well, today, we're putting on our hard hats. We're going to become language architects, and we are going to master the single most important tool for building strong, clear, and really elegant sentences, the conjunction. So, think about it like this. Imagine all your ideas are a series of separate islands. How do we get from one to the other? How do we build a bridge from one thought to the next so that it all flows together logically? Well, the answer is the conjunction. A conjunction is simply a word that joins parts of a sentence together. But I love this idea of them being the bridges of language. They're the architectural tools we use to connect our ideas and build this amazing, coherent structure. All right, so here's the blueprint for our explainer. First, we'll talk about the foundation, the bridge of language itself. Then we'll start building with something called the fanboys. After that, we'll connect some unequal ideas, check out some really powerful pairs and signposts, and of course, learn how to avoid some common traps. And we'll finish with your master blueprint.
Okay, let's start with that foundation. Why is this so crucial? Well, because without strong connections, your ideas can just fall apart. Conjunctions are kind of like the mortar that holds your sentences together, turning all those fragmented thoughts into a smooth, logical journey for your reader. So let's grab our first set of tools, coordinating conjunctions. Now, you can think of these as simple, sturdy beams. They're perfect for connecting two ideas that have, equal weight or importance. And to make sure you never, ever forget them, there's a really handy acronym. Meet the fanboys. That's FANBOYS. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Every single one of these has a unique job, whether it's adding information, showing a contrast, or presenting an alternative. They are the true workhorses of building sentences.
Here's a perfect example of a fanboy in action. See that word but? It connects two adjectives of equal importance, poor and honest, and it creates this really sharp contrast. It's such a simple change, but it adds a layer of meaning that you just wouldn't get from two separate sentences.
And look at this one. The word or sets up a very clear choice between two equal possibilities. It's just a tiny two-letter word, but it has the power to completely define the relationship between these two ideas. Pretty cool, right? But what happens when our ideas aren't really equal? What if one is the main point and the other is more of a supporting detail? Well, for that, we need a more sophisticated tool. We need the suspension bridge of subordinating conjunctions. So, words like because, although, and if, these are subordinating conjunctions. What they do is connect a supporting idea, one that can't really stand on its own, to a main idea. And in doing so, they create a really clear relationship, whether it's cause, condition, or time. Let's look at this. I stayed home. That's our main idea. It can stand all by itself. But because it was raining, that part explains why. That little word because makes the second part totally dependent on the first, creating a crystal clear cause and effect link. Now in this example, although creates this really powerful contrast, the main point is he is unhappy. But that supporting detail, although he is rich, adds this whole other layer of complexity and nuance that a simple fanboy just can't quite capture.
All right, it's time to bring out the advanced tools. For those more complex, more elegant constructions, we've got correlative conjunctions and conjunctive adverbs. This is when you want to add a little more architectural flair to your work.
Okay, first step, correlative conjunctions. Think of these as paired arch bridges. They always come in pairs and you have to use them together to connect equal sentence parts. You've definitely seen these before. Either or, neither nor, and the super useful not only but also. You see, instead of just saying she is smart and hardworking, using not only but also adds this powerful emphasis. It's a stylistic choice, really. It just elevates the sentence and makes your writing so much more dynamic.
Next, we have conjunctive adverbs like however, therefore, and moreover. I like to think of these as the road signs on our language highway. They often connect two complete sentences, and they guide the reader smoothly from one big idea to the next, signaling exactly what the relationship is between them.
So in this case, therefore acts like a big, clear signpost that's basically shouting, hey, what's coming next is a direct result of what you just read. It logically connects the sickness with the absence. This is an incredibly powerful tool for building clear, logical arguments.
Every good architect has to do quality control. Now that we have all our tools, let's look at a couple of common construction errors to make sure our language bridges are solid, safe, and completely free of any mistakes.
Okay, this one is a classic trap. The word although already establishes a contrast, right? And but does the exact same thing. So using them both in the same sentence is just redundant. It's like building two bridges right on top of each other. You only need one. Although he is poor, he is honest. So much cleaner and perfectly correct.
And you've got to watch out for this one too, because already tells us the cause or the reason for something. Adding so creates that exact same problem of redundancy. Because does all the heavy lifting. It connects the cause, being late, to the effect, missing the bus. That so is just unnecessary.
So let's step back and take a look at our master blueprint. We've journeyed from the simple beams of the fanboys all the way to the elegant suspension bridges of subordinating conjunctions. Now it's time to put it all together.
So what's the bottom line here? What do you really need to remember? First, conjunctions are absolutely key to making your ideas flow. Second, choosing the right conjunction can completely change the entire meaning of your sentence. And finally, getting a handle on these tools is probably the fastest way to improve your clarity and fluency in English.
And I'll leave you with this thought. Think of yourself as a builder. With these tools, you're not just stringing words together anymore. You're actually constructing meaning. If you use them well, you'll be able to build arguments and stories that are clear, logical, and truly powerful.